Hey guys, what is going on? Ephemeros here. So, it is time for the long awaited, well, it seems to be at least because recently there has been a sort of a tiny uproar in my comments about like, hey, are you gonna continue like CR-Volcanic's like, apparently series? And then I was like, holy shit, wait, it's a series? And I'm like, is there's a part two? Like, I forgot because the first video, right? Also, shout out to CR-Volcanic. This is insane work. Apparently, from what we can see in my sidebar here, let me scroll this up a bit so you guys can see. He literally has like four of them, adding up to 9 hours. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy work. And it only has 17k subs or somewhere around that number, right? I'm right, yeah. Get this man to 100k, please, guys. Whoever's watching this, go down there. And I always give credit and tell people to like, some check out someone's channel or maybe subscribe to them because like, well, you know, I'm a reactor, bro. Like my videos aren't possible if I don't have another video that I'm reacting to. But especially with stuff like this where it takes a lot of work, like you're writing a script, you're discussing a bunch of like analytical stuff, whether it be monster design, how the monster feels, how it feels to you specifically as well, because obviously you're the narrator and maker of the video. You gotta get multiple inputs in from yourself and write this whole script. And like, sure, that sounds okay, that sounds quite a bit of like a task, right? But I'm sure, like in paper, sorry, not me, and I'm not sure. In paper, it sounds easy, right? But like when you look at it, bro, this is like what, a 4-hour video. Yeah, yeah. We're probably gonna split this into two parts, but I'll probably, honestly, I don't mind doing one at Monday or whatever time comes that is like earlier. I don't know, whatever. After this upload, right? Or the day after or after that. I'm just like decided to, also because of my mouse broke, I literally cannot play games properly. So I am kind of thankful about it though, because now, other than being, oh shit, oh, I didn't click the mute button. Excuse me. Fuck, I missed it. Anyhow, um, what was I saying? Fucking sneeze removed my neurons. Oh yeah. Other than being uncomfortable with editing, I can focus a lot more on videos. So we will be splitting this into two parts. Or at least I think we will. I think thing is, with my current schedule at the moment, like literally in this day that you're seeing me upload or whatnot, well, I literally just cannot. I literally just can't do 4 hours. Because I think my family will arrive home in like, I don't know, 2 hours. So let's get to this, bro. I'm sure you guys can hear.
It is
Oh, yes.
time.
Uh-huh. Here we are, bro. Quality, quality, quality. Okay. 720p.
Time for a return to the frontier of Monster Hunter, both on this channel and within the main series itself. The fifth
Oh,
generation
yes.
is over, and the next era of the franchise lies just over the horizon. There was a time when Monster Hunter Frontier was dead, discarded off into oblivion in 2019 to be barely mentioned again as World and Iceborne.
I kind of don't like why Monster Hunter Frontier is kind of like quote unquote dead or what have you. Because like, dude, they like, again, I said this in like my recent video. Frontier is kind of experimental like, right? It's kind of experimental like, because some of the monsters like are shrouded in so much mystery that you want to just, and they stamp on mystery to it because like it's not like they can just say, oh, magic or whatever. No, it's not. Magic doesn't exist here. But like we don't know their ecology, so it almost seems fantastical and experimental, right? And it's kept that way. That's why I call it experimental like, because how can you implement a monster as a concept, like let's say with the like you know that one like the one we saw in the first video. It was this sort of like dark like this sort of black Rathalos with like super reddish um glowing, like I don't know, like horns, or parts of its like dermal plating were red, like the tips of it mainly. And it was like super like angry and aggressive, like. But that's cool. But like it's shrouded in so much mystery. You would see it as like, oh, this is almost fantastical. How would a thing that looks like Rathalos, which apparently it isn't, even do something like this? Why is it glowing? Is this dragon energy? Right? So it's super mysterious stuff. I do like it that way though. That's awesome, man. It leaves it up for speculation.
Reigned supreme, and Rise followed soon after. Then came Sunbreak, and with it, Espinas and his subspecies, and many frontier skills and armor sets and mechanics
So peak.
and gimmicks and frontier staff members on the main team. So the question becomes, what will be brought over next? Was Espinas in Sunbreak merely a final tip of the hat in acknowledgement to a now dead era?
I hope not, man. And I'm not gonna yap as long, right? But like, bro, it's it's so cool. It's too cool to just, oh, let's just leave it at that. No, we can't do this. No way. It's not even just that. It's and I'm not saying it's sunk cost fallacy. You can't say sunk cost fallacy because it didn't fail. It didn't fail. Frontier left a pretty good impression to like most people, right? At least I'd assume. Well, like, especially the fact like CR-Volcanic is discussing this entire thing. Like, if the whole thing was bad, right? Obviously, not a lot of people would discuss it. And if they would discuss it, the title would at least have some sort of negative connotation or tone to it. But no, it's left a lot of good impression with people. So I genuinely don't know why. Um, it could be just a case of like King K. Rool. Like he's good, but like the developers are just not. Well, I say developers, the game designers and what have you, and who gets to say who's in the game and who's making an appearance or whatever. We don't know, but I don't see why you should leave it behind. There's so much work and thought behind those monsters, as experimental looking as they were, right? It was cool. Why would you do that?
I don't think so. And I don't think Capcom thinks so either. And from the looks of things, you, the audience, don't want this game to disappear either. And the newfound appreciation that we have for Frontier nowadays has been very cool to see. Pocarodon.
Is that a seal? It's like a seal. Oh my god, and the seal moves as well, dude. This is peak. It has hind legs though. Also, if you hear any like strange sounds coming from my mic, yes, I am eating. I just didn't decide to put the avatar on.
We begin with Frontier's essentially reinterpretation of the Royal Ludroth, a large alpha male leviathan who protects a small pack of predominantly females of the same species. Only Pocarodon is a giant walrus with some features of seals and other aquatic mammals, as
a walrus!
A lion with a large sponge mane. The Pocarodon is the guardian of the spawning Pocara, fending off predators to allow his family to escape should things become dire. He is not as much of a provider as the Ludroth is for his pack, but he is an effective and necessary guardian, even against some of the enormously dangerous creatures that stalk the Polar Sea region, who we shall cover later. Royal Ludroth also serves as a decent comparison for the moveset. Pocarodon possesses a few moves that one would recognize from his fellow lower-level Leviathan: the slide on the ground, the full-body forward lunge, the death roll, and the charge where he flings globs of water to and fro. And that's where the similarities pretty much end. On top of
Okay.
a few new physical attacks of his own, Bocarodon's got a couple of standout signature abilities that he uses to great effect. Due to the metallic attributes of his claws, when he claps his paws together, he creates a thunderous yet piercing, clanging shockwave that damages and stuns nearby
Oh,
opponents,
that's
lining them
amazing.
up to be struck by the full brunt of Bocarodon's physical
So you're telling me their claws have metallic properties?
force in a follow-up attack. Secondly,
Because like if that's true, I have seen, or at least like, well, I can't say researched about it, right? But like, well, I don't know, I just Google stuff occasionally, right? But, like apparently, because I've seen this on like, well, not seen. Again, this I'm just on Google, bro. My eye is just online, but I saw like are spiders, I was searching stuff like are spiders fangs really like reinforced with like zinc? And apparently yeah. Yeah, like not the whole thing of course. Oh shit. But like they're hardened with like particular minerals and like not, you know, the minerals, but trace amounts of it. And that's why like some spider fangs are like really hard. I think I was searching for info about the wood louse spider, the big, well, not big. It's not a big spider, but it's really got like what's that called? Disproportionate looking fangs because it's way bigger than compared to its body. Anyhow, fucking awesome. Biomineralization, essentially, I suppose. Or is that the right concept? I don't know.
and most notably, he will begin by digging large chunks of ice up out of the ground, batting them at opponents, which is cool enough just in its
Yeah,
own right.
yeah,
However, there remains a lingering effect. Unlike just about every other monster in the series that digs, a hole in the ground remains after Procarodon lifts up a ton
Oh.
of ice, and those who come into contact with these pits can fall right in and find themselves stuck for several seconds.
That's
Procarodon
amazing.
to strike. Pocarodon's got a solid design. He's among Frontier's more grounded monsters, and I think his model needs very few touch-ups to make him look cool. He's sleek, yet imposing, he's got a simple yet recognizable design, he has a distinct personality that he plays off very well with his moveset and animations, he branches off very well.
I also like it because you can clearly see like there's some sort of like big guardian alpha male whatever. I'm not saying not alpha male as in like I don't know. The bottom G Andrew Tate bullshit. I mean like literal nature, right? I'm talking ecologically. But he has that like that okay, let's just shorten my description. You know the like Heihachi look from like Tekken? The old imposing guy. But yeah, he has a similar sort of design because of his like um the like kind of tuft on or whatever fur is like on his face and like the teeth that are like kind of backwards. It really makes him look like Heihachi of some sort, or at least that imposing old man looking
From the monster
design.
whom he took a lot of base elements from. And I could see him fitting in very well at the middle level difficulty on an ice map. Maybe around Barioth level difficulty. He's definitely a few steps above the low
Awesome.
tier for mainline monsters.
Actually, yeah, Barioth could like in terms of like I'm not saying it is right, but it could be a case of like I don't know, slightly convergent evolution. You know how when like calcinization, right? That's an example of convergent evolution. Okay, they start tucking their tails in, and over time, their tails and their bodies just fuse together, and then now you have a hard shell. But like I suppose it could be with the huge gigantic downward pointing teeth they have. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be extremely wrong because like that's the only trait I'm mainly seeing, not actually like full body Barioth looking traits.
Hunter. He's only the first entry in the Monster Hunter Frontier G update because
Still awesome.
it's Frontier we're talking about. It also warrants mentioning that Procarodon would by proxy, flush out whatever map he's on, both with the standard smaller monster Pokara and these tiny little baby
What the
Pokara
fuck?
seals that will actually come up to you and interact with you. And if bringing in Pokaradon means I get to play with baby seals, then yeah, bring him in. This guy's getting a 9 out of 10
Fuck
for
yes.
how much I want to see him in mainline.
Fuck yes. I want to. Oh my god, that would be so cool though. You could have one as like a pet. They can go big enough and stuff. That would be awesome, right?
Monster Hunter. I think he would make an excellent member of any game's roster and would definitely solidify the lower level monsters in that game.
For sure. I don't think this guy is I forgot. You know what's funny? I forgot. I don't even know the monster name. I don't. Let's check. Hold on. I started looking for my mouse. I forgot it's broken. What's your name? The Pokaradon. The Pokaradon is nothing crazy to me. I'll be so real. But it is a fine addition. It would be a fine addition. That would be awesome.
Farunaku.
Ooh, Bird Wyvern? Bird Wyvern. I told y'all how I felt about Hypnocatrice. Very skilled bird. Very, very skilled bird. At like using its own element and like basically most of its attacks, which is like great. I mean, you can't be countered. It's fucking sleep gas. It could be annoying, but that's skillful, bro. For the bird, at least. Oh, you're all... Oh my god, yo, you're all lightning and stuff. Holy shit.
Next up, we have a close relative of the Hypnocatrice, and off the bat...
No way. I just mentioned
I actually really like the general concept of monsters that are close in relation to a pre-existing monster, but are different enough to warrant being their own species. We will be elaborating on that later. But monsters like this allow for an expansion on the currently existing core animals in the game in a way that might not make sense for a subspecies or a variant or a rare species or a deviant or something of that ilk to do. It's also a tactic that likely conserves a lot of resources on the developer end. So right off,
oh yeah, for sure.
I'm liking the idea of Farunaku so far. This bird's probably one of the more expressive monsters out there. I'm really not exaggerating when I say that he challenges his enemies to dance-offs. Farunaku fights.
No way. I suppose, well, we do know that Monster Hunter loves taking their ecology to like the next level, right? Is it, I'll be so real, is it unnecessary as a move in terms of like the literal game in of itself? Maybe. You know, I outright say it, yes. But like in terms of like actual world building and like, you know, depth development of the game, is it absolutely necessary? Yes, absolutely. Because dude, I wouldn't like, other than the cool monsters, right? Big sword, big fight, big monster, big awesome, right? Other than that, bro, if Monster Hunter didn't have this ecological stuff, I wouldn't be as interested in it. I really wouldn't be. It's fucking fascinating, bro. Is it not?
By leaping and kicking and hopping and shaking and prancing and rapping frantic patterns that look like this kind of ridiculous dance. By doing this, he builds up large charges of static electricity within the bright yellow feathers on his body, which he then predominantly detonates in huge lightning blasts around him. Although he can,
that's badass.
His lightning and projectiles, it is his defensive application of his thunder that more defines him. His different and varied dances and animations will signal the size of the electrical burst he'll detonate and how he'll go about using it, requiring knowledge of his telegraphs. He has a bunch of these to memorize, and each animation is unique and lively and simply just kinda fun to watch.
Amazing.
He even strikes poses with his wings sometimes.
What the fuck?
Interesting.
That's awesome.
Is that he seems to borrow a lot from Kezu and Kirin. The former...
Really? These are not monsters I would ever expect for you to say he borrowed. Whoa! Explain, explain,
Being a
explain.
not all that beloved monster that uses electrical burst defensively, and the latter being a not all that beloved monster that uses telegraphed animations to communicate the lightning attack.
Fair.
Somehow, this blend on Farunaku just
Pulls it
looks
off.
a lot more fun. Maybe it's the goofy erraticism of the monster, maybe it's the increased tempo of the fight in comparison to Kezu, and less reliance on arena blanketing AoEs in comparison to Kirin. This fight looks genuinely fun. Farunaku has a good design, perhaps not.
Honestly, like from what I've heard so far, the animation of the bird is carrying it. Like other than the design, which is honestly pretty cool, I'll say. Very colorful looking bird, and obviously we see that a lot in birds, and you have different colorations and stuff, and the more shinier you are, the more oh my god, attractiveness or status you might have, right? um so we see that with birds a lot, but what's carrying him right now is the animation work. Also the borrowed traits from like some of the monsters that he mentioned, which were Kezu and Kirin. Kirin, yeah. And you know what? Fair enough. I barely ever like read up or watch any other videos about Kezu and Kirin. They're both being so honest. They're kind of insignificant to me. Like the Kezu is hilarious and the Kirin is super mysterious, but aside from that, there's not really further notes in my head.
One of my favorites, but it is good. I like the deep blue blended in with the green on his
Yeah,
body, and
yeah.
it makes the bright yellow feathers stand out very well on him.
Yeah,
the
actually.
tail fixes whatever the gnarled mess is coming out of the back of Hypnocatrace, but the mane's a bit goofy, and for some reason looks like it might be a little kind of out of place. That might be because it's a very round
point.
object on an otherwise
That's actually
pretty
good.
sleek
That's
and
actually a good
angular-looking
point.
bird, or maybe it's because it makes him look like Big Bird. And I don't.
Wait, you're not even wrong. I didn't even realize that. Oh my god. I was looking at the body and the edges of the wings. That's hilarious.
Really want to stab Big Bird. I think I'd want to see it with some better textures before fully judging it. The mane
Fair,
and the other
fair.
feathers do stand on end a bit when he's enraged, which is a little bit better, but
Awesome.
it's again kind of limited by texture. I
True.
think more than anything, I want to see this guy just move around in a newer engine. I want to see his dancing.
Yeah, I want to see his design as well, like because obviously when you reintroduce a monster, right? When you reintroduce a monster, you do one of two things. Either you kind of just make it, right, and then the same design, same everything, and usually that works out fine because at least you're seeing the monster in better resolution, better graphics, better whatever, right? Better engine essentially from what CR-Volcanic said, which is true, yeah. The better engines will give you better results as time goes on. Hello, game development. But like, the main part about it is like, yes, usually we've seen this time and time again. When a monster is reintroduced, like their design kind of changes a little bit, not completely, right? I suppose some major stuff has happened, but like most of the time it's just like small redesigns and whatnot. That would be cool to see.
Animations and thunder shocks fully realized with some top of the line technology. I think that would make me appreciate him even more, but as is, I quite like the guy more than I
Yeah.
thought I would. I'm gonna give Farunaku
The what are those, like, I don't know, the peacock looking feathers on his, like, the base of his tail. That looks really cool.
a 7 out of 10 for how much I would like to see him in the main series.
Sure. Agreed. I'll give him a 6. It's nothing crazy.
Hujikiki.
What the fuck is this? Oh my god. Is that its stinger tail? Holy shit, look at that tail. Look, what is that tail, bro? Look at, oh my god. This is what I like about Frontier, bro. Some of their monsters are just so absurd. Well, obviously it's adaptations, right? You can explain it in one way or another why they develop these spikes. We've seen real spikes like growing out of creatures in nature and whatever, what have you. Not spikes necessarily, but like let's say spines, right? Let's say spines. But this stuff Bro. His tail looks awesome, and the general design is he's so spiky. Oh, you're cool looking.
Vicious, violent, and armed to the teeth, with rows.
Oh my god! He shoots out the spikes. He shoots it out.
Violent and armed to the teeth, with rows upon.
Did you see how many he just shot out? What the fuck?
Spear-like spines. We come to the next of Frontier's
Right?
flying wyverns. Hugikiki is a seldom seen.
This is insane. Because like for him to be using it again, we've established this stuff. If you're like a creature that willy-nilly uses a sort of resource, let's say your spines, your venom, whatever, like those are hard to produce, bro. Literal spines, you would need nutrients to produce that, obviously. Or venom as well. You'd need to, that's why most of the time spiders are not biting you, nor do they need to. They think you're just moving land, bro. That from at least from what I've like seen, or like from I handle spiders sometimes as well. I have house spiders here, but well, what was I saying? Oh yeah, for him to just use it and bed like thousands of it into the ground and just not give a fuck, he's probably producing them really fast, which is horrifying.
Even less frequently survived high-level predator within the highlands and
My
deserts
God.
of Frontier. The first thing you're going to notice is the copious amount of needles jutting out
Yes.
of the beast's body. The
Yep.
spines are created and regenerated via a process where the fur on Hujikiki's body is hardened by mixing with fats and oils located within the body. Fun fact,
Really?
the presence of so many oils and fats on his hide means he's enormously weak to fire. A process like this
Fair.
requires a lot of energy to consistently maintain.
See, I'm saying. It being it being like a mix of fat and fur on his like a mix of fat and oil on his fur. Excuse me. That does make sense, but I've never heard of that before. That's really cool. Is it plausible? I don't know. How? I suppose his fur would have properties where like it would harden better with fat and oil, right? So it could like turn into these like spines, I suppose. Otherwise, I don't know how.
Causing Hugikiki to be particularly violent and prone to staking out vast hunting grounds for itself. And Hugikiki is pretty intelligent, using
Oh,
his
really?
violent spikes to manipulate the movement of herbivores and trap them in place. That
That's
he may
insane.
slay and eat his selected targets at his leisure. Though the spikes also double as protection against the Highlands predators, who are far larger than him. In combat, a Hugikiki has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He takes after bear.
He's like a porcupine's myth. If you guys know what like the myth about porcupines is that usually, well, apparently, right, from what I've heard from like, I don't know, was it Coyote Peterson? Goated guy, by the way. Hope he's doing well. There's this sort of myth that like porcupines like shoot out the spines from their backs. Well, not really, but this one does.
Barioth quite a bit, borrowing a good portion
True.
of Barioth's physical attacks, and also sharing his ability to exhale blasts of
The-
air that
the-
form small
They
cyclones.
got wing arms as
These
well.
cyclones aren't too dangerous on their own, and he actually doesn't even really try to fire them directly at you, because he doesn't have to. With a swing
Why?
of his tail,
Oh
he'll
my
throw
God.
a barrage of spines into the cyclones, and let the winds fire them off in every direction, pelting a massive chunk of the arena with an indiscriminate
That's
Gatling
bullshit.
gun's worth of projectiles in patterns that are almost guaranteed to hit their mark. This is easily his flashiest and most famous way to weaponize his needles, but it's not the only one.
Smart.
A lot of his attacks will drop.
Oh my
spike clusters to
god.
the ground.
See, look. That's a what? I mean, that's at least maybe 500 spines, or maybe less, maybe 300. And he sprayed that so casually just around him. What the fuck?
Around him, making the ground nearby
Is this not crazy to you guys? What the fuck? Is this not crazy? This is insane.
very dangerous to approach. Additionally, he can leap into
Oh,
the
shit.
air and fire off a ring of thorns, deterring opponents from approaching him and separating hunting
Okay.
parties. He'll even curl himself up in a ball of spears, retaliating if attacked. And when Hugikiki gets desperate, he has one last trump card. Hugikiki has several organs filled with a variety of toxins.
What the
ability to
fuck?
poison, paralyze, and induce sleep can all be found in these
Oh
organs.
my god!
You guessed it. He can force these organs to blend the toxin in with the fats and oils to let
Oh, great.
every single
Great. I was like, okay, why not use it in your spines? And he's like, oh, he can infuse it. I'm like, oh shit, alright. Alright! Oh shit, I muted the video.
with one of these effects. When he does this,
Oh, the
he
only
will
one, okay.
double down on his wind usage as well, firing off
Fair.
four cyclones and moving his limbs and tail with so much force that they can kick up strong gusts of wind all their own. The game turns into a debilitating bullet hell designed to shred unprepared hunters to death, not giving them an
Okay, so if you anger him enough or whatever, he starts playing Toho with you. I suppose.
as they are repeatedly incapacitated as their health bleeds away. I know status-oriented monsters aren't generally well liked by the community, but quite honestly, I think Hugikiki would be fun for a few
That's
fights
awesome,
to
bro.
get absolutely battered around and beat
Yes.
snot out of, only for it to require a dedicated counter build for future fights. The potential for him to be annoying, it's there.
Very high.
I don't know. I think he's too cool to be written off just because.
I wouldn't say. Okay, I don't. Okay, game perspective wise, I don't know why you'd write off a monster as like, oh, I fucking hate this monster, bro. He's super hard to fight. Like from that point, yes, but I would hold also. I would recommend holding a second opinion on like how the monster is like as an animal. Is it good? You know, does it have like ecologically right? Is it awesome? And from what we've heard so far, this monster is really good. Really good. I would say it has extreme potential to be annoying due to the fact that like once you get him to low health or he get desperate enough, he starts throwing like sleep darts and fucking poison barbs at you. So sure, that'll be annoying because if you get stomped out or your party gets stomped out as well, I bro, that's GG's, bro. You gotta repeat it all over again.
The status use. The design is pretty damn cool as well, leaning heavily
Yeah.
into the mammalian look, kind of looking like a giant spiky winged hyena. Despite all the spikes, he
Sure.
doesn't look too bad or too messy. The head spikes are maybe a bit large compared to those on the rest of his body, but that's a pretty minor gripe. He has excellent colors, a very dark brown for the spines,
Oh, yeah.
contrasting with a mix of tans and cream colors, with a bit of a yellow tint in the fur. And when enraged, his claws and spikes have this blood orange hue on the tip.
Oh,
making it a
awesome.
really neat looking rage mode. I
Yeah.
think Hugikiki is a pretty excellent monster, and some more up-to-date renders that are available show just
That's awesome! Oh my god! I don't like the less spike on tail. I want the spike at the end of his tail to be a bit more prominent. Again, small gripe. But so far, man, really cool looking monster. I gotta say. Also, again, shout out to CR-Volcanic, man. His narration and scripting of this stuff is top notch.
how good he could look on a modern hard.
Because obviously, you want to sell a monster, right? You want to sell a monster and well, not sell as in like sure, I suppose business terms as well. But like you want to sell to the viewer that like, yo, this monster is fucking cool. Obviously, right? And his narration does it pretty well. The toning, the everything he does with it, just peak, absolute peak.
Where I think he'd make for a really good challenge with a gimmick some will
Sure.
love and some will hate. But I know that I certainly want to give this fight a try.
Oh, yeah.
Yukiki's getting an 8 for how much I want to see him.
I'll give him a 10. I'll give him a 10. I really want to see him in like Like, let's say in a rendition of like either Wilds or Worlds. That would be sick. My god, he shoots so many barbs that he... My god. That's absurd.
Midogaron.
Midogaron. Oh! That sounds oddly familiar. Like Odogaron? Midogaron? Like... Okay. Whoa, holy shit, you're quick. What the fuck? But he's blitzing around! I'm sorry, how do you kill this thing? Look at... Dog. Okay, at least he's staying still sometimes. He's like a zebra-looking guy.
When the worst occurs, and a Kamu Orugaron is left bereft of its partner, the No-No Orugaron it had partnered with slain or dead from some other cause, the Kamu will, for some...
Wait, what am I talking about? Why am I talking about Odogaron? I don't even think they're related. Oops!
some unknown reason, journey into the volcanic regions alone. There, his ice-producing organs mutate into fire-producing organs. The fur on his body darkens, and the ends of tufts of fur on his neck, back, belly, and legs turn to a volcanic red. Scars of years of battle across his body, and the now abandoned Kamu Orugaron transforms into a beast of tragedy and terror, a Midogaron. For paying the price of the loss of his partner, the now Midogaron is now far larger, faster, stronger, smarter, and far more cunning and lethal. Not to mention a more successful...
The fact it leaps forward like that fast is terrifying.
...than two Orugarons combined. When not enraged, he fights a lot like an amplified Kamu Orugaron. Tail whips, claw swipes, lunges, leaps, bites, a roar that can knock back opponents, and the ability to fire off spikes out of his back. He's certainly swift and aggressive like this, but this is not the part of the fight you need to watch out for. When driven to anger, stripes on his dark...
Again, narration is absolute peak, bro.
...fur and ends of his red fur, and his eyes begin to glow gold. The experience and wrath of this creature is brought to the forefront. His speed and aggression are jacked up to 11. Maybe make that a 12 for the speed.
Oh, Christ.
He can push himself so hard that his movements give the illusion of teleporting. He will vanish in a cloud of cinders and red fur, only to reappear a fraction of a second later with a devastating physical attack or a massive burst of fire. This trait...
Gigantic creature, by the way. Gigantic creature, by the way. I say that because, like, usually the heavier you are, the harder it is to move fast. But the fact he's blinking, right, giving you the illusion that he's sort of teleporting, is insane.
Is Midogaron's biggest claim to fame. These unreactable bursts of speed.
He's blink stepping, bro.
Designed to destroy a target as quickly and viciously as possible. He can warp into a diving lunge, warp into a detonated charged fireball, even warp while in mid-air and firing off bursts of fire down on the ground. And what makes this even more fun is that he will actively try to fake you out, and will target...
That... Oh my god! No, I need to see him. I need to see this guy reiterated and reintroduced. This is nuts!
Hunters in multiplayer that one would not assume he's targeting. He may warp several times in a row to bait a roll or face one hunter, only to warp attack into another. And on top of that, sometimes he'll single out one individual hunter and try to isolate and annihilate just that one target with a flurry of attacks. Now, this state consumes a ton of energy and can't be maintained for very long, so there is the trade-off of him always eventually falling out of this transformation and into an exhausted state. Basically,
fair.
what I'm saying is that this is Primordial Malzeno, only he's a dog on fire. And judging from the community response to Primordial Malzeno, I think they'd really like Midogaron. He's got a really great design. Menacing dark fur paired with brilliant burning red fur makes for a great core palette. The extra large tufts of said fur all over him look awesome, and when he's lit up all gold, he looks legitimately phenomenal. The golden eyes especially. Much like Hugikiki,
that's
I don't
badass.
think he needs too many touch-ups to look really good. His
Yeah.
proportions look fine, his fur and spines don't look bad at all, and more up-to-date renders have tweaked his face a bit to make him a little less goofy looking. He's intimidating.
Okay.
And I think probably among my favorite of Frontier's monster designs. If a
It's
Monster
peak.
Hunter game had Kamu and Nono Urugaron in its roster, I think Midogaron has to be a title update monster. I love really kind of everything about this guy. In fact, I love him enough to give him a big fat 9 out of 10 for how much I want to see him in the main series.
I need to see him, bro.
I think
10 out of 10.
Midogaron would look phenomenal on a modern engine, and I really want to see a turf war between him and Teostra.
Oh, that would be gas. Oh my god, this is loud, boy. Hold on.
Shantien.
Ooh, who's this one? They sound familiar, but I don't know. Looks wise, no. Oh my god, you can fly? I mean, like float? My ears, bro. Oh my god. Hold on. Oh my, lower this down. Holy shit. Amazing soundtrack, but Jesus.
We're getting to a big one pretty damn fast, kids. The flagship of Monster Hunter Frontier G1.
Really?
Between you and G rank is Shantien, a
Holy.
legendary elder dragon, and for a number of very good reasons. As stated,
Talk to me nice.
he must be repelled for you to enter G rank in Frontier, and the proper Slay quest is added in the next update, G2. He's not the most challenging monster before his true Slay quest, but trust me, we're gonna get there. You face him atop a guild airship. Upon entering his territory, he moves to intercept you, alighting on the deck of the ship and threatening to send it crashing back down to Earth. He will first face you grounded, not taking the battle particularly seriously.
Okay.
And opting to bat away the fleas trying to take him down. But as the fight progresses, as you prove yourself more and more of a threat, he will begin to take to the sky, gradually bringing his full power to bear. Shantien makes use of the Leviathan skeleton from the 3rd generation games, and in his first phase, you'll definitely recognize a lot of those same attacks.
Holy tail whip, man.
Standard bites, tail sweeps, and the slithering dash. You'll notice, however, that many of these attacks, specifically ones with the tail, kick up massive gusts of powerful winds, which are a prelude for what is to come. Deal enough damage, and a storm begins to roll. Bright blue sky.
Holy shit.
Ominous dark gray. And the rain begins to fall steadily, soaking the deck of the airship. Shantien takes to the skies, and his moveset changes. Internal organs manufacturing large amounts of pressurized air, allowing him to fly and to glide at top speeds.
That's insane.
He maintains this sustained flight so long as he is not knocked to the ground, sweeping his tail across the deck of the ship, lunging at targets and biting at them, but with the added advantage of being much harder to hit now. Occasionally, you gain a taste of his elemental prowess, a sustained beam of water here, or an electrified burst there, but we're still
Holy fuck.
building. If you can knock him out of the air,
That's
snag
scary,
his blizzard
bro.
binder while he's flying outside of the confines of the ship, you can pull him down to the ground for some free damage. This will keep him grounded for a little bit,
Alright.
and he will mainly use his attacks from phase 1 for this part. One would think that the 3rd phase would be his final form, as the storm now begins to rage, and lightning crashes down all around in full spectacle. And for the G1 Repel quest, yes, this is indeed the final stand before he
Nice.
flees,
Okay.
angered And now fully taking the battle seriously, Shantian transforms the rainstorm around him into a full-fledged thunderstorm. Bolts rain down from the heavens, and the winds sweep at a staggering speed, and the downfall of rain becomes a torrentious onslaught. Swipes from
Fucking cool.
Shantian's tail kick up massive bursts of water. His water beam lasts for prolonged periods of time and turns gigantic in size. He will rain down lightning upon himself to knock away those striking him, and will sometimes fly away from the ship. Let his body surge with lightning and continuously dive across the deck of the airship, thrashing any hunter caught in this flight path. It will take, once again, the ballista binder or a well-timed hit from the hunting gong to interrupt this attack. And should this form be endured, most Shantian will know better and flee the fight, licking its wounds and preserving its life. But sometimes the hunters injure the Shantian a bit too deeply, plunge the dragon into a sense of desperation and fear for its own life. And should this happen, there will be consequences. In the G2
Oh shit.
a mechanic called Conquest War was implemented and given to 4
What
monsters.
the fuck?
Shantian was one of them, and the other 3 will be discussed later. Conquest events allowed you to fight monsters over and over to increase their level. Increasing the level could alter the
Wow.
monster's mechanics and
Holy
add
shit.
multipliers to their stats. This level could go up to 9,999. You didn't
What?
need to go that high to fight the final form of Shantian, but those top-level Conquest Wars really did give some high-quality upgrade materials. When faced in this manner, and the previous 3 phases have been bested, a wounded and livid Shantian will turn to desperate
he's
measures,
tight.
shooting the airship down and sending it careening into a volcanic wasteland.
Oh shit.
In that hellscape, Shantian will devote everything in its power to destroying you. Pushed so far that it will unleash...
Oh, he looks cool.
A third element. Shantian possesses a weak fire-producing organ, which he will almost never use, allowing his water and lightning to do most of the heavy lifting. But when near a volcano, his control of fire is strong enough to properly weaponize his fire organ, and his winds can manipulate the fires of the volcano as well. The hairs on his body now streak with burning bright yellows and oranges, and embers of the volcano get caught up in his wind aura, setting the air around him ablaze. The final battle has begun. Pure spectacle.
This must be insane as a player to fight.
Geysers of
My
flame and
god.
steam, lava swept up in tornadoes, projectiles of boiling water, fire beams infused with rampaging lightning, cacophonous blasts of thunder, followed up by sweeping arcs of cutting pressurized water and flung chunks of magma. All 3 elements are put full display, and some of his attacks combine the elements together in Frontier's first compound element, the Tensho element, which
What the fuck?
100% water damage, 70% thunder damage, and 30% fire damage. Only Shantian
Whoa.
wields this power.
I
Through
bet.
fire, and through thunder, and through water. The
He becomes the Avatar. I'm kidding. That is so many elements at once, oh my god.
battle is long, desperate, bloody, perilous, and deadly. The chance of survival is low, and the dragon will never relent. And even if enough wounds go through, even if you manage to bring Shantian to the very brink of death, it will not be your blade that fells him. Whether he simply underestimates his injuries and fries himself by accident, or proudly opts to end his own life on his own terms,
What the fuck?
Shantian, at the end, takes to the air, charges up his full might, pushes his powers beyond what he can handle anymore, overloads himself, and dies, falling back to Earth in a trail of dissipating wind and discarded cinders. His floating hairs still swaying and his glittering shell still glowing as he lays still upon the hellscape. Monsters like Shantian only
Straight
come around
suicidal,
every once
bro.
in a while. That dragon that leaves mouths agape and shocks us to the core. There's very little I'd change about the design, although there's something about how and where his eye sits on his head that makes his expression look a little goofy.
Sure.
And I initially didn't love the stiff, weird, half-developed looking wings coming out of his back on his renders, but they look fine in motion. The silver and teal look excellent, and the added yellow and orange in his final
Oh,
look
yes.
exceptional. And my god, if all that couldn't convince you, just listen.
Insane soundtrack, bro. My god. This is a soundtrack for a boss fight, bro. Oh my god. And that is exactly what this is.
Ten out of 10.
Yep.
I don't care if there's another major storm
Yep.
Elder Dragon in the main line. They're both in Frontier anyways. Who cares? 10. I wanna fight this thing so bad.
I can't even blame him. That's peak. That is amazing, bro. Even just like in terms of pure badassery, yeah, that's goated, bro. Oh wow. Dude, this on like a better engine though would look insane. I don't know who made these soundtracks, but they cook. Whipping up straight crazy. Oh shit, he actually did kill himself. My god. Also, YouTube, do not. It's a game, YouTube. Do not. I don't, bro. Do not start with me. Oh, he actually done it. My god. Oh, what? Brute Wyvern? Yes, he is. Oh, wow, you look cool. This is like a Brute Lagiocratus. What the fuck is this, bro?
As we enter the G2 update for Frontier, we begin with the close relative of the previously featured Abiorugu. Jiaorugu is believed to be the species from which Abiorugu derived, and currently serves as a top-level hunter within the Polar Sea region. It is likely that the scarcity of food resulted in some Jiaorugu wandering away from the Polar Sea and changing into their green relatives, yet some terrifying Arctic brutes still remain in their place of origin. Though not the apex of the Polar Sea, we'll meet him later, Jiaorugu is a predator to be taken seriously and be feared. He is designed to be a polar predator. The icy blue scales provide ample camouflage in the snow. His need to maintain a high body temperature means he's always on the move, and when enraged, he purposefully releases some of his instantly freezing blood to coat the
What the fuck?
with an extra layer of frozen blood. And his tough, elasticy like skin retains heat incredibly well. He is a difficult animal to
Good.
down.
Oh wow, he rolls.
Physically, Jiaorugu borrows a lot from other brute wyverns that came before him. He shares a number of attacks.
Excuse me, did he just stick ice onto his tail? What the fuck? Oh, that's cool. They also have tail not whips. They also have tail swords.
Urugu and Deviljho, as well as the chin slams and balled up roll attacks of Uragan. He uses the dorsal plate on his back to keep himself steady as he rolls. Paired with Jiarugu's physical strength are his elemental powers. From his mouth, Jiarugu can exhale a sustained beam of freezing liquid, as well as a closer range burst of it. Additionally, he maintains the corrosive saliva of his relatives, Abiorugu and Deviljho. And at the back, he can shove his tail into the ice, and due to the properties of his blood, he can coat said tail in a thick
Jesus
layer
Christ,
of
that's a
ice,
huge
forming
sword.
a bladed end. Abiorugu may have some blade-like tail attacks, but Jiarugu fully evolves this concept into a full-on ice sword. Mind you, Jiarugu appeared a whole 2 years before Glavenus appeared, and I have heard that Abiorugu and Jiarugu were smashed together to form the flaming sword-wielding Carnotaur we all know and love. I actually think I like Jiarugu a bit more than Abiorugu. Jiao's got some really cool ecology, a really cool color palette with the icy blue and the desaturated greens. He's got a bit of extra spikes and horns and bulk to make him look a little bit more menacing. I think his moveset overall looks a bit more fleshed out, and he clashes a bit less with some already in the main series monsters. He's a very cool creature. I think I'm going to give him a solid 7 out of 10 for how much I'd like to see him in the main series.
Just because he's a brute wyvern, he gets 8 from me. He gets 8. Oh, he does chin slam. That's insane.
Ray and Lolo Gaugarf.
Who in the fucking Pokemon? What the fuck? Oh nah, they're communal. Is that the right term? Dude, they cooperate. What the fuck? This is insane. They look like magnets, bro.
Whose play fighting together can be so destructive that the guild will send hunting parties after these two in order to prevent them from irreparably damaging ecosystems. These are another permanent monster pair, like the Orugarans and the metal fish, but these aren't mates for life or sworn enemies. These are two genetically different members of the same species. The blue-furred, wolf-faced Ray Gaugarf is the result of the far more common genes, and the red-furred, bulldog-faced Lolo Gaugarf is the much rarer of the two. Whatever the two pair, the Lolo takes command, being the much more assertive and aggressive of the two. I would assume that a pair of the two that you encounter in a quest are mates, but as far as I'm aware, there's little information as to populations of common partnerless Ray Gaugarf, and if there's any purpose beyond combat.
Look at their hair, bro.
Why these animals tend to pair together separately and are never encountered by themselves in pairings of two Rays or two Lolos. But when we get into how they fight, it'll become a bit more clear in a combat sense why they would want to pair like this. The Gaugarf species is capable of generating an electrical charge. However, the genetic dimorphism within the species is what signifies what kind of charge the animal possesses. Rays and Lolos produce different charges from one another and use this to great effect, using their electrical currents to propel one another as projectiles. What happens is Lolo will give a command, and the two will leap into the air together, or Ray will lunge at Lolo and use its charge to repel its partner. Lolo will then send Ray careening across the battlefield at high speeds towards opponents. They can even leap into the air together and try to drag enemies in with a magnet.
So they're two opposing forces. I knew it. They were like magnets. They were, because I don't know if you guys have ever like, or at least know the true concept of like a railgun, but that's essentially it. It's a bunch of magnets lined up like specifically to speed up an object to insane speeds. Granted, the object can, you know, be manipulated with magnets, then yes, it'll shoot out at insane speeds because of the magnets. So this is cool. Wow, this is very Pokemon-like, though, I will say.
An suction attack before crashing down on hunters they brought too close. More or less, these are the professional wrestling monsters. It's not subtle at all, and it's pretty awesome. Even without this power, The two are still formidable even separate. They are hardy creatures, capable of enduring great punishment and dishing it back out twice as hard with their powerful forelimbs and incredible agility. A few more details to note. Lolo essentially dictates the path of the whole battle. When it enrages, Ray enrages, and when Lolo leaves the arena, Ray follows after. Lolo calls the shots during attacks, and should Lolo be killed first, the Ray will flee and will be unable to enrage for the rest of the fight, the more timid creature now lost without its leader. Alternatively, should Ray go down first, Lolo will become permanently enraged, fighting to the bitter end. And as a side note, when they do get enraged, their fur gets all giant and poofy and ridiculous looking, but
Cool.
these two are pretty peak Frontier, in my opinion.
Yeah!
They're both really goofy looking, yet their design's pretty cool. They make use of Frontier's paired monster mechanics, magnetism status, and complex underlying mechanics that can alter a fight and a player would do well to understand.
Ish peak, bro.
Perhaps only real mark against them is that their colors may be just a tad too
A
oversaturated.
bit, yeah,
They look
sure.
a little too stand out against the backgrounds of the map, but I'd say that's pretty much it. And I have confidence that if they were brought into modern Monster Hunter, they'd give them even more magnetic attacks and animations. I think I'm going to give these two an 8 out of 10 for how much I'd like to see them in the main line. They're pretty great.
Yeah. Honestly, they look related to Rajang, which I'm sure not. They're just sort of the same body type looking build, whatever. I'd give it a 6. Nothing crazy to me. They look cool though, I will say.
Anoru Patisu.
No fucking way. Oh, that's horrifying. Oh my god. Dude, it has like a fucking...
At the apex
What is that?
of the Polar Sea.
Like a
Above
swordfish
the massive walrus
nose.
And the ice sword dinosaur and all other menagerie of top-level creatures within this frigid land is the Anoru Patisu, a flying wyvern modeled after a saw-nosed shark. Anoru Patisu is a voracious and unyielding predator.
Oh my
It eats
god,
any
bro.
meat it can find, and truly, nowhere is safe from this violent behemoth. Anoru Patisu is an effective ground combatant, a skillful flyer, and a powerful swimmer, making him hypothetically
Wow.
the singular monster capable of doing all three. Frontier lacks underwater combat, but he is still very much capable of swimming, traveling beneath the ice while its dorsal fin tears through the frozen sheets, hurtling towards soon-to-be food. His famed saw blade form is both a tool of ice-digging utility and a brutal weapon, though honestly,
Oh, for fuck's sake, I keep not pressing the right... Okay, bro. Whatever.
he has less attacks with it than I thought he'd have. Phase 1 of his fight is pretty cool. Yeah, this guy's got phases. And by itself, it'd make him a solid monster with some high potential, but it takes a bit for him to really get going. This first phase, though. Anoru Patisu wastes no time showing off the multifacetedness of his mobility. He can use his horn to carve out the ice under him and dig into the frozen sea beneath your feet, rocketing towards you at alarming speeds. Other times, he can use his horn to carve open the ice, creating a massive geyser of ice-cold mist, shooting up into the air and obscuring all within it, which Anoru Patisu makes use of to dive towards an unsuspecting target. He's actually a pretty graceful flyer, despite his size, though not as skilled as a Rathalos or Soregios. Anoru Patisu can maneuver quite well and with great speed, repositioning himself
Still
out of
good.
reach. He will often follow this up by blasting the ground with a massive ball of ice, the result of which kicks up a frigid mist which rains down icicles. He's even got an occasionally triple ice blast attack that he fires from his mouth. Other than that, he has some standard flying wyvern attacks, a hip check, bite attack, tail whip, Rathian's backflip, and Diablos' double tail strike. And if that was everything, I
Pretty
still
good.
like him. Very reminiscent of Guren Zaburu with some flashier attacks, but less interesting mechanics. A great design and some solid potential for main.
He's very ace-like, or what have you? I don't know. He's super well-rounded to the point it's scary. It's essentially, as CR said, not really any escape from this guy. Not really. He can fly great, dig great, and then he can like fight ground. He can fight on the ground pretty well as well. So there's not much anywhere. There's nowhere to go, bro.
series release. It'd be either a low 7 or a high 6, but no, we're not done. Not only does he have more, not only does this monster have a dedicated second phase, which very few other monsters at this power level have, but flying shark pulls out the mother dragon element out of nowhere.
Huh?
This is where it gets nuts.
Okay, alright. Bro, this is an ice creature. He started swearing, I'm like, okay, what is he swearing about? Is this something crazy? Motherfucker, dragon element. Where? Where would you need this adaptation? What the Okay, bro. Like, with Devil Joe, maybe I understand it, right? You're fighting other monsters, for fuck's sake. And, like, you're always hungry, you're always pissed. You need a sort of edge to your arsenal, right? Fine. But unless this fucking monster is actively hunting down other monsters, and because it's hungry as well, I don't understand why it would have dragon element. Oh, that's curious.
Does he get new moves, but he amplifies a lot of his old ones with dragon. You'll notice
Fair.
Patisu enter this stage when he roars and bolts of draconic energy zap around his mouth. He gains Diablos' horn sweep and charge. At least I think he does. I didn't see him use these moves in gameplay until phase 2. And he, at least to my eyes, appears to attack much faster. All of Inoru Patisu's ice attacks are now imbued with dragon. His geysers, ice mist, ice shot projectiles now course
Insane.
crackling red and black, and the two elements blend beautifully, adding a level of spectacle and menace, especially when his geyser is all lit up with the lightning and all you can see is the massive silhouette moments before it beelines right for you. He can also
That's
fly
awesome.
a straight shot across the area, creating a wake of falling ice and massive bursts of icy steam. And I haven't even talked about the design. Sleek, badass, simplistic.
Sure, fuck yeah.
Dark oceanic blue with a white underbelly, white wing edges, and piercing gold eyes, and that prominent hacksaw horn. Ah, it's so cool. All in the body of this massive shark on a Diablos body shape. For the love
It's
of
pretty
God,
crazy, I'll be so real.
please salvage Inoru Patisu Wreckage of Frontier. With all that cool he still has untapped potential. He's an underwater monster with no underwater fight.
Yes.
He, as of yet, has very few physical attacks to call his own, mostly borrowing from 3rd generation Diablos and a little Rathian mixed in. Put that together with a couple of new flying moves and some updated ice and dragon visual effects, and I think we legitimately have one of the all-time greats on our hands here. I think
Honestly,
he might
yeah.
be in my top 3 Frontier monsters, top 5.
You know what I will say? When he was rating the monster, right, just halfway through, and he said this maybe a 6 out of 10, I was like, I'll give him a 5. He's alright. Nothing's really piqued my curiosity yet, and then he pulls out Dragon Element. Oh my god. From where?
5 for sure. 10 out of 10, easy. I would.
Sure, I'll give him an 8. That's pretty cool, man. Holy shit.
Miru.
Who is... Oh my god. Dude, we went from like oceanic blue to like... and this is essentially jet black. Like the coloration of this fucking guy. What the fuck? Oh, you look awesome. What the fuck? Very Barrioth looking build.
And
just without the wings.
Elusive and enormously rare fox-like wyvern, once mistaken as a black Duragawa. The Miru is tracked down and revealed to be a close relative of the aforementioned monster instead. Miru possesses one of the most unique abilities I have ever seen in a Monster Hunter monster, and that is because Miru is a bona fide shapeshifter. Long before the days of Charon's werewolf transformation, there was this 6-formed fox. Miru is able.
Excuse me, what? Huh?
To alter the structure of his face, forelimbs, tail.
What? 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 We never. Oh my god. Is this? Oh my god. But why would it do that? How would it do that? What is the purpose of this? And how did it adapt this? How does it do it? What the fuck? This is sick. I've never. Oh my god. Nah. Talk to me nice. Explain.
Crystals, as well as the color of said crystals, to reconfigure his weaponization and the muscular structure of his body, allowing him to,
No, that's
on
insane.
a dime, overhaul what his body is physically adept at. Going
What
over
the
them one at a time,
fuck?
I'll break down the different forms he takes. He will begin his fight in his
I'm sorry. Oh my god. I'll just start playing a different video by accident. Whoops.
almost
Dude, I will say, this is like, this is already an 8 out of 10. He hasn't even explained it, but still.
shaped much like the Duragawa and fighting similarly to him. However, he utilizes the fire element rather than ice. When he begins to realize that he is threatened, a bubbling blue fluid can be seen around his body, indicating the shifting form.
Oh
His
shit.
ranged form. His crystals glow green and grow thicker at the wings, as well as curving at the head. The end of his tail swells up as well. In this
What
form,
the
he keeps
fuck?
his distance as much as possible, relying on a heavy concentration of fire-based attacks to incinerate enemies from afar. In his power form, his snout contracts inwards. His
Oh,
tail
shit.
grows larger than normal, and his crystals become shortened and red, flattening around at the
Oh my god. No. No. 11 out of 10. I need to see this guy. I need to see this guy.
face too. This form is all about pure physical might. Miru's speed and range fall away and are traded for strikes that rip the earth asunder, grind bones to dust, and melt health bars. He borrows a few of Tigrex's moves here, and honestly, he isn't even really that slow, so be careful.
Yeah.
In his speed form, his crystals turn a bright cyan blue. His horns then angle backwards, and many of his crystals thin out a bit and elongate, giving him a very aerodynamic feel.
Yeah.
Miru's body structure
I was
as
about
a
to say.
whole is now much slimmer. This is the opposite of the power form. Area-cracking strength traded for huge bursts of speed and heightened agility. Here, he borrows a few moves from Nargacuga, mostly a lot of his pounces.
Oh my god. Is this not crazy? If there's any actual ecologists somehow ending up on my video, how would this, how would, I don't even know what question to ask, bro. Like, is there at least a real life example of said shapeshifting? I'm sure there's some. There's some, right? There's stuff like the butterfly's metamorphosis, or you know, the caterpillar's metamorphosis to a butterfly. But like sure, that can be said as shapeshifting, but on a dime, bro, that's insane.
And leaps while having a number of lunges and combos of his own. His crystal form turns his crystals bright white with a bit of a purple tint. And
Yo, what
makes
does
them
that do?
longer and thicker, creating a sort of white-purple crystal mane around his face, with one prominent forward-facing crystal horn. This form is fairly balanced between physical and ranged attacks, though not as extreme as the power of speed forms, and rather than his fire element, Miru focuses on firing off shards of his crystals as fast-moving projectiles. These attacks can
Ooh.
inflict a debilitating crystal blight, which can reduce maximum stamina, limit item usage, and cause an explosion on you if the crystals aren't properly dealt with.
Oh
And
god.
last, there is Miru's final form. A fantastic looking state.
Oh yes.
Icy white crystals, piercing glowing red eyes, prominent horns, and red veins on his wings.
Jet black body as well.
Surprisingly, this is an amalgamation of the other four forms. Powerful physical might, blinding speed, massive bursts of fire, and crystalline buckshot. However, contrary to the name, the final phase is not a last resort, permanent last leg of the fight. He can transition in and out of it as he does with his other forms, and he can enter
What?
fairly early on in the fight as well. Though that
Bro.
doesn't take away from the impressive design and moves he
Yes, of
in
course.
fact, Miru swaps between his forms rather frequently, though the base form is abandoned at the start of the battle, and this serves him well, as his
Oh my god. Bro, he's oh my god. He's so varied that like essentially, man, he's got a bunch of shit to pull out of his arse mid fight. That's insane. Now, at least there's color tells, because man, if there wasn't, you gotta watch like his actual physical form. Oh boy.
Move pool in each phase is a little limited. Just a little. The rapid change in the fight does make it a bit hard to take in each phase properly when
Sure.
watching
Yeah.
gameplay, but I would assume it keeps the hunters on their toes, as the phase
Definitely.
swaps do not appear to be scripted, though I would assume he cycles through most, if not all of his forms before reusing them. It's a pretty genius concept, bringing a lot of contrasting attacks together and fighting styles, and
Yeah.
dividing them up amongst
amazing,
one
bro.
monster via various states, whilst elaborating on that concept with some very cool physical transformations. As a sum total, Miru looks pretty awesome. Some phases
Yes.
more than others, in my opinion, but as a core concept,
Nah,
it
the
looks
red one looked fucking awesome, bro. That was so sick.
pretty sick. Black makes for an excellent base for all of the
Yes,
multicolored
yes,
crystals to
yes,
work
yes.
on and stand out in. Aside from the obvious brilliant spectacle of the final form, I'd say the thick and beefy power form is my favorite.
I'm saying. I'm saying.
It changes him probably the most drastically, and really sells the amplified physical might.
Yes.
In a modern Monster Hunter game, I think I'd like to see some of Miru's physical alterations exaggerated just a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
Just a bit, as some of them blend together slightly. Make the
Fair.
power form like a brick house. Make the speed form like almost anorexic. Give him a
Yeah, see, are you get me, bro? Oh my god, that would be sick, because like obviously, if you're opting for power, right? Again, as CR said, you'd need like this sort of brick house, because obviously, and it makes sense, right? Because he's told us he trades speed and also the ranged attacks for like the more beefy, ground crushing swipes and whatever, what might have you, like extremely powerful melee attacks, right? Crushing blows and whatnot. See, that would make sense to just straight up go like, okay, he turns really beefy, right? And then his crystals like glow this like bright red. Maybe his fur darkens a bit more for the contrast, and then he gets like much beefier. He almost looks like this sort of silhouette, right? Giving you well, like while you do make him beefier, you give him almost this silhouette look. And well, maybe I'm talking shit. A silhouette look would look a little weird, but I'm saying like make him dark enough to the point some of your imagination comes into play with imagining his power, right? And in the speed form, yes, he's trading both power and also the ranged stuff for bursts of speed. You would need to be thin, you'd need to be lightweight, yes, you need to be aerodynamic. So the crystals are great. They form into this aerodynamic, air-piercing look, but make him thinner. Make him like this sort of like athlete-looking version of himself, right? Like super sleek looking, much faster, aerodynamic, can basically like leap and stuff like that, right? And then his enraged state, I'd say since it's a combination of the four, you'd get like a bit more of the overgrown crystals, but you would get a mix of him being buff but also thin enough at the same time. He doesn't look anorexic and he doesn't look like fucking Broly or whatever, right? But he looks strong enough that you're like, oh shit. Yeah. That. Oh my. Nah. This is hype. This is hype. This is hype.
fiery visual effect in
Holy
his
shit.
in his ranged form, stuff like that.
Yes.
Follow the shape shifting, as I think this idea could be
Because exaggerating, like, in terms of game design, bro, exaggerating it would be peak. There's always an element of exaggeration in games. We know this, but like, man, come on, is that not cool?
explored a bit further. I wouldn't need too many new moves. I think several quick swapping shallow pools is a good call. Overall, excellent concept, and I think it can be elevated even more with a few tweaks. Oh, and the theme bangs. 8 out of 10 for this one.
No, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, bro. Oh my god! My ears! My ears! Oh my god, turn this up! Turn this up! Dude, My ears? Oh, blessed. Oh my god, let's listen to this real quick. This is, I mean, dude, usually, right, with Monster Hunter song, I'd expect something melodic, something uh humming, singing, something, right? Something no, what's the word? Something almost like orchestra like. You got your, these beautiful instruments coming together to make these harmonious sounds, and obviously, said orchestra can also produce these sort of like haunting battle themes, and these like crazy troublesome sounding drums. The fact they put like I think this is a metal guitar of some sort, whatever rock. You get it. But like the fact they put, oh my god, let's listen to it, please, bro. See, at this part I was like, dun, 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 dun. I was like, okay, this is just classic. It's not crazy, but it's still obviously probably a good soundtrack, right? And I start listening to it like, ding, 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 ding. Oh my god! Oh my god! Them drums that to come on, boy. Oh my god. See, I see stuff like this all the time, bro. When people animate, like, I don't know. Some people animate like Monster Hunter monsters. I've seen it, right? I've seen it before. I've seen one before. Um, Dude, someone animate a fight between, like, I don't know, either a hunter or another monster, like with this monster. Oh my god! The potential is that's so sick. Nah, oh my god, I'm getting whiplash, bro. That soundtrack was fucking banging. Holy shit! Why does nose so stuffy, bro? Anyway, who's this one?
Diora.
Rebidiora. Okay. Cool, 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 cool. Oh, wow. Oh, dude, this one has a stark design. Look at this. Very contrasting. Like, a lot more of the colorful parts contrasting with the dark parts. Because with the last monster, you got... What was his name? What was bro's name? Miru. With the Miru monster, you got a lot more contrast from, like, the tips of the crystals, right? But this one is just, like, more... Like, the coloration of the bright colors is more on, like, the sort of membrane that makes up, like, their wings, so... Contrasting a lot more. Ooh! Oh, that's sick.
The named subspecies of Rucodiora. Rebidiora is a far more
Really?
powerful counterpart to his magnetic cousin. Rebidiora is the result of a mutation that occurs when a Rucodiora becomes overcharged by its electrical output, allowing it to experiment with its powers in newer and deadlier ways. His scales turn a deep dark violet, his wing membranes a yellow-green, and his horns and spines shift to pale gold, indicating the tremendous amount of electrical power this creature wields. His fight isn't too different from Rucodiora's on a fundamental level, but it is significantly amplified when it comes to the electrical abilities. His biggest claim to fame is his ability to create large magnetic spheres that suck up huge amounts of debris into them. These spheres will slowly gather power and size before they are flung at a hunter or sent crashing down to Earth. resulting in a massive electrical detonation. His roars can tear massive chunks up out of the ground in a radius around him before
Oh
they're
my
dropped
god.
back down to the ground. He can drag magnetized hunters toward him as he flies upwards before he slams back down. And Rebi Diora's electrical powers are so mighty that he can now properly wield the thunder element. Ruko Diora was limited in that his electricity could only be utilized for his magnetic ability, whereas
Okay.
Rebi Diora can properly
Can actually.
lightning.
Wow,
And he
okay.
can even blend his lightning in with his dragon element. This
What
creates
the
the
fuck?
thunder pole element, dealing 70% of thunder's
Thunder
usual
pole.
damage and 70% of dragon's usual damage. This is an element only Rebi.
This is what I like about Frontier, bro. It's so. It's got that, like. Let's do this thing. Why? Why not? Let's experiment. Let's play around with this stuff. They're combining elements? Excuse me? Is that no crazy? Come on, man.
Diora can wield. Additionally, he has a few new physical attacks, such as a wing slam combo, and his general radial influence of magnetic power is utterly massive. I do think that Rebi Diora has the superior color palette over Ruko Diora, but I do have one gripe. When enraged, Ruko Diora shifts physically. His wing membranes become frayed at the edges, making them look jagged.
Ooh.
Yellow-green thunderbolt designs appear over the wing bones, and his horns, claws,
That's awesome.
and leg and tail spikes turn with this bright cerulean blue. I wish the cerulean blue colors were yellow or the same yellow-green as the wings. I think it's one major
Really?
color too many on the monster, and
That's okay. That is correct. Taking a look at those like tips now, yeah, that is correct. Yeah, it's a bit jarring when you see it. When you see all three colors.
the blue parts are so separated from the yellow-green parts, kind of makes his different pieces of
Yeah.
his body feel a little, I would say, separated. But the purple, green, and gold, those look really good.
Oh,
He's a cool
yes.
one, and an Elder Dragon that I would love to see in a mainline game. I think he could be a really good spectacle fight monster, with some genuinely good regular combat mixed in. Whereas I could see Ruko Diora being a more technical magnetic master, I think Rebi Diora would be a really fun bombastic light show monster, with a lot of terrifying, heavy-hitting elemental attacks. And as a bonus,
Fuck yeah,
it comes
bro.
packaged with this incredibly heroic and triumphant battle theme. Very solid 7 out of 10 for how much I would like to see him.
Okay. Let me get. Yeah, let's listen to it. They're using really light tones for the theme. Really makes it sound heroic. Oh, that part was kind of banging. Oh my god, did you hear that? Ding 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 ding. That was cool. Oh, that was sick.
To circle back a little ways, there was a land beyond that where Shantien was fought. A frigid, frozen, apocalyptic wasteland, suspended in time. And it was here
What the fuck is
the
this, bro?
enemy of Shantien lurks, in his kingdom of solitude. An ancient dragon who had defeated Shantien in years past.
Who is bro?
A horror lurking at the end of the world, and one of the mightiest powers within Frontier. Disu Firoa.
Oh my god, entrance music and everything. CR-Volcanic outduns it. Outdid? Still. So fucking sick, bro. I see the effort, bro. I see the effort. It's not unnoticed, bro. I can see it. It's fucking gas. That is so sick. Holy. Oh my god. This is such grandiose music, is it? The fucking choir in the background singing this very haunting theme, and then you get this you get this super troubled, like, I don't know what that's called, but you hear the dun 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 dun. Like, fuck. Excuse me. I did not have time to press fucking mute button. Oh my god. Anyway, carry on.
One whose power ranks
Holy
amongst
shit.
first-class dangerous monsters, a compatriot of cataclysms such as Fatalis and Elatrion. The frozen seraphim dragon dwells
Really?
in
On the
hell
same level power?
and has formed into his own. Twisted, rocky spires jut out like shattered, sharpened fragments of discarded bone. The ground is bleak and barren and gray. An ominous maroon ocean laps at a
Yeah, what even is this stuff made of, bro? What the fuck?
beach devoid of color, and a bloody moon hangs in a violet sky. No ecosystem can dwell here, no life endures save for the lord of this land. The dread dragon having carved a kingdom of emptiness and death. Disofiroa commands both flame and frost, held together
Oh, wow.
by the dragon element. His organs can of raging infernos, and his horn can manipulate the frost-bitten wind to form glacial structures.
That's insane. They're playing with elements like patchwork. Like fucking they're just sewing it together, bro. Ice and fire? Alright, let's knit it with dragon element. That's fucking mad.
The dragon element combines with these other two to craft the frozen seraphim compound element. However, the majority of his attacks are fire or ice-based. He must wield these elements in balance, as too much of either could destroy him. Most battles against Disofiroa are not so much battles against his form, but against his will, and the creature's will is nigh indomitable. So tenacious is he, that the moment the hunt begins, he immediately pelts the arena in a slew of fiery breath attacks, scattering hunters before their bearings can be collected. He'll then form a massive icy glacier before smashing it to bits. Having Elatrion's body shape means you should expect a few of his physical attacks and animations in the fight. Besides that, in the possession of multiple elements, there are few other similarities between the two. Disofiroa is packed to the brim with a massive arsenal of attacks. He can create a sun-like ball of fire and detonate it into meteors, exhale massive tornadoes of ice and fire, expel massive concentrated beams of frozen seraphim, manifest titanic glaciers.
Some of this shit is just ridiculous, bro. No, seriously. Some of these monsters you're fighting literally just sound like natural disaster producers. Like they're just there like producing absolute chaos, bro. Is this not crazy? Tell me that's not crazy, bro.
Fire said seraphim beam into the glacier to refract off the icy structure and strike in multiple directions, and coat large swaths of the ground in icy shards before wreathing his body in raging hellfire and charging towards opponents trapped in the ice. When thrown into a rage, the sky glows a deeper red, and his horn grows in size.
Oh my god! Y'all hear this music? What the fuck? Nah, I'm so glad CR adds some of this music, bro. Some of these is just straight banging. Holy shit.
His powers multiply tremendously. Meteors fall from the sky into the violet sea. He can surround himself with swirling cyclones of ice. He'll create an ice shield around him before detonating a tremendous fireball so destructive that you must hide within the shield he creates for himself. The wild output of elements in
Jesus
is dangerous for both you and Disofiroa. If you can inflict enough damage, if you persevere long enough, eventually you will surmount the insurmountable and drive Disofiroa to output more power than he can withstand. Like Shantien, it is Disofiroa's own might that puts him down. The frost turning against him, dousing his flames, encapsulating his body, and entombing the dead dragon in his own
Damn!
A permanent monument to the fact that the Disofiroa commands so much godly power that his mortal body
just cannot,
it,
yeah.
for the most part. See, Disofiroa has a few high-level forms beyond his traditional quest.
Really?
He has both a Conquest War version, like Shantian,
Ooh,
and a
sick.
C10 version, like the 7th level Enraged version of Unknown. The Conquest War Disafiroa is nice and frightening and all that. Certainly new moves, a ramping mechanic up to level 9,999, more health, more damage, high-level upgrade materials, etc., and so forth and so on. Mighty as the Conquest War Disafiroa is, his icy tomb will claim him all the same. But this is not the case in the Shiten form.
Oh
the
boy.
Shiten Disafiroa is a different kind of beast altogether. Older, stronger, more experienced, more focused, and more in control. Oh yes, you can push him to the point where his ice entombs him, overtakes his physical form, and locks him in stasis. For a minute.
For a minute? Oh boy. Oh boy. Excuse me, he just broke out of that. Son. What is happening? Oh, holy shit, wait, his wings, his wings, his wings. His wings look different, I think. What the fuck?
The should-be statue begins to shake and splinter before great jets of fire erupt from the body of the resurrected demon and boil the ice to nothing. Vibrant yellows and oranges and violets blend into his body and wings. His icy armor becomes more exaggerated and he resumes combat with a vengeance. Disafiroa's attacks can be full arena encompassing.
What the fuck?
Fire swirling as icy structures jut out from the ground to impale the blood-red sky. His refracted dragon beam fires in more directions. He conjures bizarre dragon-infused ice crystals from the ground. He destroys his own ice structures to send shredding projectiles flying in all directions. He creates long-reaching, swirling vortexes of frost and flame that circle around him, an endless barrage of relentless elements threatening to annihilate you at every turn. And just when it seems like he'll never go down, lo and behold, Disafiroa can be truly slain.
How?
Down fully and totally. No resurrection, no tomb. A true end. And that is the climactic encounter with what is one of, if not the strongest.
How does he die?
Slain, brought down fully and totally.
Oh,
No
okay.
resurrection, no tomb, a true end. And that is the climactic encounter with what is one of, if not the strongest monster in Frontier's canon. Though perhaps a tad busy, I think Disafiroa's design is mostly pretty sick. I think a bit of extra work to make his armor look a bit more ice-like would do him some favors. True. Texture's look is a bit icier than his render, but I think he'd look truly phenomenal if he had, say, Velkhana level graphics. The deep, dark red for his underbelly looks great with the white armor.
Sure.
I really like that his horn arrangement kind of looks like a helmet. Bits of it parting around his eyes to...
Someone's a fan of Glavenus, I think. Glavenus is like... His skull looks like a fucking helmet. It looks really cool.
Look like similar slats in a knight helm. The big prominent horn to indicate his importance and power. I could perhaps take or leave the cerulean chin spikes and this weird hand thing coming out of his chest.
Sure.
The chin spikes, especially, I honestly don't really like all that much. And the hand thing is really weird.
I don't know what that is.
Kind of in a good way. It's just such a bizarre addition that makes the design more memorable. And the similar pattern of bright blue lines he has on his underbelly look pretty good, too. And Disafiroa's final form, I think it's legitimately gorgeous. His ice armor retains its general shape, but grows exponentially and becomes more wild, which I think is appropriate considering his elements are more out of control. And the beautifully blended violets and yellows and oranges in with the red body and wing membranes look phenomenal. There's a few funky looking parts here and there, but Disafiroa has a fairly standout design and sells a fire and ice dragon brilliantly. What's there to say beyond that? Of course I want this guy in mainline Monster Hunter. Not only would he be the 4th monster in the exclusive First Class Dangerous Monster Club, but his...
Bro, he'd make an amazing Elder Dragon as well. Would he not? My god, bro.
Ina is hauntingly gorgeous. His design is striking.
Yeah.
Grappling with his own power and eventually falling to it is such a unique dynamic. And the
I
frozen
know.
death is unlike anything that Monster Hunter has.
That's fucking
Disafiroa's
epic, man.
elemental combinations are insane. And I know for a fact that the team would push these combined elements even further. And the music, dude. It's such an unorthodox arrangement of instruments. This electronic percussion sound.
Yeah.
Heavier conventional percussion doing a ton of heavy lifting. A choir with both powerful vocals and this awesome menacing whispering chant to create this quiet yet powerful and ominous sound.
Very haunting, yeah.
Apocalyptic death. Some conventional orchestra elements and a bit of electric guitar appears too when called for, but the use of the drums and the choir and electronic instruments creates this dreadful yet godly sound that I've listened to for many
Again, grandiose, super grandiose.
years now. Absolutely a 10 out of 10 for wanting Disafiroa.
Wow. The choir's doing work, bro. It really does sound like chanting. Holy shit. Oh my god, it almost reminds you of like the Greek saga of Kratos. Holy shit. But it is amazing. It's almost reminding you that this monster that you're fighting is almost godlike, essentially. Jesus. Oh my god! The choir is genuinely hitting that shit, bro. Oh, that part was amazing.
Barlag Wall.
I'm sorry, who? I'm sorry, who? Also, this might be the end of part 1. I don't know if we'll see. I hope it isn't. I hope it isn't.
Barlag Wall.
Oh shit. It's almost snake-like. What the fuck is that? What is that? Is it consuming something with its tongue? Mate, that's fucking horrifying. What? Look at it! Ugh! Oh, that's nasty, bro. And, like, you look really cool, design-wise, and for your surroundings, but you look... Feeding behavior is nasty, bro.
So we are finally out of
Says the guy who likes spiders, by the way.
Frontier G2, and we are on page 26 of this script.
Damn.
Me, dude. It's alright, though.
Again, the fucking script stuff, bro. Page 26, Jesus.
G2 is comparatively packed, and Shantien, Miru, and Disafiroa had a lot to talk about. So we should be able to pick up the pace a little bit. G3 begins with a brand new Leviathan, Barlagual, which is the official Romanized name of Baruragaru. He is a swamp-dwelling, leech-like leviathan, which feasts upon the blood of the inhabitants of the humid marshlands, and whatever hunters dare approach. They are predominantly a sea-dwelling species, but have become invasive to certain swampy regions, and with no natural predators, they have been killing populations
Oh, so they become invasive, okay.
of Genprey and Ayaprey en masse. Normally, it is a water element-wielding monster, capable of weaponizing a mucus it secretes to keep its body moist. It can utilize this watery mucus as a projectile, and mixtures with his body fluids can cause this substance to be corrosive to armor, inflicting defense
Holy
damage.
shit!
But this is not...
Wait, why?
It can utilize this watery mucus
Hold on.
and Ayaprey en masse. Normally, it is a water element wielding monster, capable of weaponizing a mucus it secretes to keep its body moist. It can utilize this watery mucus as a projectile, and mixtures with his body fluids can cause this substance to be corrosive to armor.
Oh shit.
Down. But this is not what you need to look out for. His most famed mechanic is, as I said, the ability to drain animals dry of their blood and absorb attributes from it. When Barlagawal gets a barbed, coated, extendable tongue into the neck of an iodrome or gendrome, it'll absorb the poisonous or paralytic toxins found in the body of these animals. Its internal organs have a method with which they isolate said toxins found in the consumed blood, and then send them to large sacs along the side of the creature. These sacs then expand, and you can see the isolated poisons flowing throughout the insides of Barlagawal. He can then attack with these substances.
That's insane.
Contracting his muscles to defensively release.
It's like he's got, oh wow, he's got this sort of similar neck to Devil Joe, like in how it can contract and expand. But with his, it's more like a vein. Wow. Okay.
Gases, or aggressively firing them as beams at targets. However, should a velocidrome or a hunter be the one snared by the tongue of the Barlagawal, the leeching Leviathan's organs turn red, and his gaseous attacks corrode the integrity of weapons, reducing their sharpness.
Holy shit!
This pin also deals an absolute ton of damage, so either be enormously careful when he starts swinging his tongue at high speeds, or bring some other hunters who can heal you through the pin. Some other interesting tidbits to note. First of all, rather than claws, he has these tentacle-like growths on his forelimbs that allow him to dig through soil very easily. Considering that he is traditionally an undersea monster, I assume that means that he works kind of like Gobel, a seabed-dwelling ambush predator that under the sand or dirt to strike.
That's horrifying.
His tongue. Whilst submerged in water, his organs can intake a tremendous amount of the water around him to utilize when he hasn't consumed any blood recently. And when digging in the swamp, he can absorb the poisons found in the soil there. There are certain tongue-whipping attacks he uses that have animations that can actually cut some of the smaller raptor monsters in half. His tongue can be badly damaged whilst he is feeding, causing him to flinch for a prolonged period of time, and can even neutralize his ability to drink blood if the tongue is fully broken.
Holy shit, okay, great.
Ends in a needle that can also expel the toxins in his body and can stab targets and pump them full of the poisons directly in this way, kind of like a syringe. Additionally, he is not suited for fighting other large predators and is generally a pretty easily frightened animal, which I think would be kind of fun to see expanded on in a game like World.
Yes! Fuck yes!
Barlagawal looks super cool. He's got a ghoulish-looking face, a simple serpentine design.
Yeah, almost, because of like where he lives, it almost reminds you of Kezu, but it's too different that, well, it's good. It's good, all I gotta say.
Muted color palette with light blues and faded grays. And his red fins add this nice little extra pop of color detail. It is needless to say that he looks awesome when he's absorbed blood, and that huge stripe down his body flares up with purple, yellow, or red. It's an awesome visual indicator.
Devil Joe looking, I gotta say.
Brightens him up considerably without throwing off the look. This is another fantastic monster out of Frontier. A brilliant mechanic executed masterfully. A damn solid design, and he has a lot of his own moves, which is great considering I'm noticing a lot of borrowed animations in this game.
True!
In physical
That's very true.
Which isn't intrinsically a bad thing, but if there's an over-reliance on reused animations, it can kind of water down the monsters a bit. And Barlagawal has a decent toolbox of attacks that I have not seen on any other creature. Additionally, if we get underwater back, we have another Frontier monster that can be plopped in the water. And that is a massive plus for me. I would love to see how he hunts in his natural habitat. I know I'm handing out quite a few of these, but I'm definitely giving Barlagawal a 10 out of 10 for how much I want to see him in the main series.
I'll give him a 6.
Just a masterfully put together creature. And honestly, I am trying to be a bit picky with the 9s and 10s, but looking at the roster, I think the G series is when Frontier's designs really peaked. Not that they're bad.
You know what? I'll give him a 7. Mainly because of the cool, almost Congalala-like usage of like fluids and how he uses to infuse attacks or whatever. That's cool, that's cool.
Had before or after, but they executed a lot of really good ideas fantastically well during this particular section of Frontier's lifetime. And Barlagawal is no exception. Fun extra fact, Barlagawa was a bit of a dark horse pick for me as a monster I wanted to see in Sunbreak's title update. As Espinas had just opened the frontier door, Barlagawa's name had just been romanized, and he fit the bloody vampire aesthetic of Sunbreak's endgame perfectly.
Oh,
I have a little
fair.
bit of bias towards him, admittedly, but
I can't blame you.
hey, it's my channel.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's very true. Amazing soundtrack as always. You hear the flute? Damn! That wind instrument is doing oh my god! Son! Oh my god, it's gas, it's gas! It's fucking amazing.
Zeru Ryusu.
Wait, which one? Wait, let me see what it looks like.
Zeru Ryusu.
Holy shit, you look like... I was gonna say stereotypical, but like... You look... Oh my god, like a plain, cool and awesome ice dragon. Or I suppose in this case, perhaps a wyvern? Yep, a wyvern.
Let me introduce you to a new category of monster found within Frontier. The burst species are a type of monster designed to be relatives of other well-known monsters, but not variations of them. Hence why I'm covering them here in the main section of this video, and not in a more generalized section towards the end. Zeru Ryusu is technically not a Rathalos. He is a powerful close relation. Now, I do like the concept.
So very closely related, but too different to just call it a variation. Okay.
Burst species, as I do like the idea of closely related monsters that technically aren't the same type of animal. But the title burst species is a tad superfluous. This is a concept as old as the original game, with Monoblos and Diablos being very close relations, but not the same animal.
Okay.
Earlier in this video, we had Farunaku, who is a relative of Hypnocatrice, but not a burst. The burst part is likely a signifier that this is a massively more powerful relative. I like the concept of this category and most of the monsters within it, but the nomenclature is not particularly needed, in my opinion. So that's a quick little aside, but let's focus on Zeru Ryusu himself. A brilliant, glittering white flying wyvern with bright blue crystalline protrusions on his wings, horns, tail, and legs. Zeru Ryusu is an enormously uncommonly seen wyvern, only appearing at the top of the highest towers when the sun shines brightly upon them. This is because Zeru Ryusu absorbs solar energy, and its body converts it into its own personal compound element. It is simply named the light element, a combination of fire and...
Is this motherfucker photosynthesizing? What?
Lightning. The light within Zeru Ryusu burns so brightly that an aura of radiance constantly emits from his body. An interesting indicator of how the fight is going, as the light will change and shift as he loses health, shifting from red to yellow to green to blue. Zeru Ryusu has an intriguing core mechanic that serves as a bit of a cross between Beru Kurosu's adaptability to certain weapon types and Miru's shapeshifting. In response to receiving large amounts of a certain
my god, what is on his face?
Zeru Ryusu will reshape its crystalline shell.
Stop. This reshaping and copying. This like crystalline reshaping and shit like that is so cool. Is it no? Come on!
To defend himself better against certain damage types. Against blue-wielding foes, Zeru Ryusu will strengthen the crystals on his legs to protect against being tripped.
Wow.
He'll also open up the shell on his tail and utilize his tail in attacks more, both for physical and ranged purposes. I'm not 100% sure which moves are and aren't universal across each state, but from what I can see, the anti-blade form of Zero-Ryusu is incredibly fast, agile, and combo-heavy, using his wings as blades to slice into opponents, swiping with his tail often, and pretty much every attack he does with his tail follows up with a sweeping thin beam of light energy that will occasionally leave these lingering waves of light energy in its wake.
Oh, sick!
Long-ranged attackers,
Some of these elements I've never even seen before, bro.
Ryusu will expand the crystals on his wing talons, from which he fires out his barrages of light attacks, bombarding those who opted to keep their distance and making them pay for it. He takes to the skies often in this form, dashing in and out of range, while also creating a variety of bombarding light attacks, barrages of small projectiles, firing off large beams that break off into other projectiles, and firing off beams at the ground whilst in the air. And against foes who focus on bludgeoning damage, Zero-Ryusu will strengthen the crystals on his head into twin-facing forward horns, reinforcing his head against stun damage and implementing
Oh my god!
to deter enemies from approaching that area. He's more of a brawler in this form, striking with a big, heavy, forward-facing hits, slams, and charges, including one where he slams his horns into the ground, creating a multi-lined light quake explosion. He's also got a few goofy attacks I saw used in a few of his forms, such as one where he digs his lower jaw into the ground and flies at you with part of his head.
Jesus Christ!
And another where he corkscrew digs into the ground and then resurfaces in a ring of light. They're both enormous bizarre moves, but they are definitely unique.
They're unique at least, yeah.
This gimmick, as I think it incentivizes teamwork, bringing multiple weapon categories amongst the parties. So
definitely.
That each form is properly covered, whilst Zero-Ryusu strengthens himself against one player in particular. This certainly isn't anything that Frontier has never seen before, but it's adapted in a way that still feels fresh and creative. Not too much to say about the design, other than it's a good color choice. Piercing bright white and gleaming sapphire blue really good together. The impact form is definitely my favorite. They're a really standout feature.
I can't really call it sapphire blue, because it's more like, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I do agree with it. Well, really, generally, it's just blue. It looks like more like magical ice blue to me, more than anything.
Adds this extra layer.
But hey, he does have that light element, so yeah, fair.
Yes. I will give Zero-Ryusu a 7 out of 10 for how much I'd like to see him in the main series. There's a few monsters that do
It's a good. I like the adaptability. I'd give it a good 7 as well. That's fair.
This gimmick with a bit more to it, and I'm not exactly dying for a new Rathalos-esque monster, but he looks like a good hunt with friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And if you play solo, well, I'm sorry.
Miraganasu.
Wow. Black and yellow. What a color palette. Oh my god. Alright, talk to me nice. Oh, he looks cool as well. The black and yellow thunder.
With the flagship of Monster Hunter itself gaining a burst species to embody the light, it was the flagship of Frontier who was a burst species embodying the dark. Miraganasu is a close relative of Espinaz, but it's honestly a little kind of tough to tell at face value. The bulky statue, spike placement is similar, their head shape is pretty similar, and they have that same forward-facing horn on their nose.
I couldn't tell mainly because of the color palette. It's really, yeah, and plus I haven't seen Espinaz in a while.
That's kind of it. Miraganasu exclusively lives within deep, dark caves, and as a result is completely blind.
Yep.
To compensate, it seeks out its prey using its gigantic bat-like ears, and an ability it has where it can rub its scales together to create a high-pitched sound that grants Miraganasu echolocation. This ultra-sensitive hearing plays into how Miraganasu goes about targeting foes. When potential prey starts making noise, He'll hone in on them, singling them out and attacking relentlessly until it kills its mark and eats it. In gameplay, whichever hunter makes the most noise or deals the most damage becomes the singled out target of Miraganasu's ire, relentlessly and recklessly hunted down across the cavern until that hunter is dead or Miraganasu picks a new target. A hunter will know if they have been singled out due to a shift in the music and
shit.
giant drill horn flying wyvern.
Okay, yeah, of course. Of course.
You can mitigate some of the potential damage of a raging Miraganasu by hiding in these limited integrity bone piles that remove knockback and damage whilst you're standing in them. Safi Jiva absolutely pulled a ton from how this fight works. Miraganasu has some bizarre adaptations for combat. On top of his immense physical strength and speed, he wields the darkness element, a composition of
what?
And ice. He can
oh my god, the mixing and matching of, well, not matching, but like the mixing of elements is just, wow, man, frontier, bro.
Weaponize the
Holy
darkness
shit.
element in the form of beams fired from his mouth, tails, and scales. However, the primary use of this darkness element is to be expelled from his tail, and I think these vent-like structures in his wings to propel Miraganasu forwards at staggering speeds. Combine this with his single-out mechanic, and he can absolutely make for a very intense fight. That does look pretty fun, though I do have a few issues, unfortunately. I don't think that Miraganasu's potential has been fully explored. From what I can glean, the huge drill-like horn and the rocket engine tail serve the purpose of allowing Miraganasu to move through dozens of feet of solid stone like it's water.
Oh, like a drill, you mean?
He has no dig attacks, and his drill horn doesn't drill.
Really? Oh, come on! You'd think at least, like, he's living in these caverns, whatever's. You'd think he can at least dig through rock, let alone propel through it.
It doesn't feel like his ecological function has been properly implemented into.
That's true, that's the case.
That Miraganasu's hearing is so good that he can hear something moving underground at great distances away.
For sure.
Even with all that earth.
Even just that, the tactile perception as well could probably feel the vibrations. Yes, probably.
Between them. And Miraganasu can move with so much sheer force that he doesn't need the element of surprise. He can tunnel faster than anything else. He should be an enormously dangerous, specialized combatant in his niche. But as is in gameplay, he's a bit of a Diablos clone with some Espinass moves in an underground cave. I think Miraganasu would stand to benefit by learning from some of Agnactor's playbook in Try, leaping from floor to ceiling and burrowing into every side and angle of the cavern that he's in.
See, that's awesome,
never sure what angle he's going to come from, all while his dark energy, rocket tail, and drill horn hit the cavern walls so hard that they practically melt tunnels for Miraganasu to travel in. And that's just not there right now. There's also the matter of the design. I know this one gets lampooned a ton, but I don't think it's that bad. It is, however, very noisy. The black and yellow...
Is it that bad? I think it looks cool. Not in the art, but like in... I suppose that is what it looks like, right? Huh. I think it looks cool.
Yellow nearing orange color looks great, but he has a lot of spines, curved in different directions, a very bizarre tail end, 3 horns pointing at different angles, and it's a lot of pointy bits spattered to and fro. He could stand to benefit from some cleanup. I think his body spikes could use a little bit more uniformity in direction, and... I don't love his 2 thinner yellow horns on his head. The giant drill horn and the rocket tail do look weird,
remove
but
mate, the horn on his head is a bit strange. Like the weird yellow horns that point in whatever direction that you could technically spear someone with, but you literally have a huge drill on your head. Why not just use that? Right? So it would not make sense for it to have that adaptation. Curious.
Understand their function. I think an actual revolving effect on the horn and some more rocket effects coming out of the tail when he launches himself could help to sell these odd-looking parts a bit better. I do love the giant ears, though. I'd like to see Miraganasu's get another chance. I think with some design cleanup, a moveset overhaul, and some non-combat representations of how he hunts underground,
Yeah, he'd be
I
sick.
think you could have a damn good monster. In fact, I think the core fight by itself looks solid and fun to play, but I think it is yet to properly elaborate on the specific mechanics of this particular animal. As of right now, I'm going to give Miraganasu a 6 out of 10 for how much I want to see him in the main series. As he is
I'll give him a 5. He's okay. Although I will give him a 7 if the ecology is expanded on, because his ecology would sound actually really cool. Because it's a cave, bro, it's a cave monster. We don't get a lot of those.
in Frontier, I don't think he's been perfected yet. And this is kind of a Rucadilloro or Laviente situation where I want what could be a bit more than what
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
I
yeah,
do
yeah,
hope
yeah,
he
yeah.
gets
That's
another
fair.
chance.
I mean, it's not like he's needlessly complaining. He's got good points on why it should at least be improved upon, and he's right. Pretty fair opinions. Oh, the music is banging as always. Oh my god. That air instrument coming in with like the... Oh, come on.
Forokururu.
What? Well, let me see, let me see.
Forokururu.
Holy shit, that's colorful. Wow, wow, that's colorful. He looks like a fucking calamity boss. That one jungle dragon Yaron, I think.
We don't have enough big, powerful bird wyverns in mainline Monster Hunter.
True,
All we
true,
really
true.
have is Yangaruga. Luckily,
Sure.
Frontier's got us covered. Forokururu is the premier monster of the Flower Fields map, a creature designed specifically
That's so
for the
sick.
rolling hills of countless wildflowers that decorate the multicolored landscape. Forokururu, though typically a tranquil monster, can be a powerful opponent when provoked. His large size grants him strength. He
Of
is
course.
a graceful and agile flyer, and is so accustomed to his environment that he has become both immune to and can weaponize the over half-dozen potent toxins found within the flowers of his home. The
Amazing.
hypothetical has been floated around many times. What about a status Elatrion? A variant or something
Oh.
by status ailments rather than all the elements? Well, we have status Elatrion at home, and he's a gigantic teal hummingbird. The huge
Fucking
patches
great.
of multicolored flowers within the flower field each contain their own status effect or debuff.
That's
Forokururu
insane.
feeds upon the nectar of these flowers and can then utilize their toxins in combat. He is wholly immune to all of them. The list of effects that he can gain access
Damn!
to are as follows: poison, paralysis,
Okay.
sleep, dark, soiled, defense down, the fire element, and he can grant himself healing.
Excuse me, what? I thought there's at least 3. Sleep, paralysis, poison, I get. Fine. What is all this? Nah, let's take a look. Defense down, soiled, healing, fire, dark state, sleep, attack up, another dark state? Wait, what? What's this one on the bottom? Oh wait, they're up top. Normal, paralysis, defense down, soiled, healing. Okay, makes more sense. Sleep, fire, dark, attack up, and poison. Dude, holy shit. Oh my, this is like, whoa. Let's count. Essentially 11 states. Because this is It's about nine states, and you have two more. So okay, that's a lot. That's a lot. I thought there'd at least be like maybe three. Okay, fine. This is crazy.
Dark, soiled, defense down, the fire element, and he can grant himself healing or attack up. Side note, the dark status effect is not the same as Miragenasu's darkness element.
Okay, I was
Dark
thinking.
is a status effect where much of your vision is obscured by darkness. The inside of his wings, some of the feathers,
So
the plumage
cool.
of his back and tail, and the dewlap under his throat all change to a different color and sometimes color pattern corresponding with each of the 9 different nectars. Having this many debuffs makes Forokururu a difficult beast to prepare against. A good hunter will have to bring what he believes to be necessary and understand the color patterns and lay of the land to know when is the time to be aggressive and when they are most at risk. From what I can
For sure,
tell,
yeah.
the different nectars don't really alter his attack patterns all that much. He will release large globs of whatever nectar he's consumed by flinging them out of specialized organs in his wings and the feathers in his tail. He can launch several at a time, with each projectile having rather large blast radiuses. He can fly across an area and strafe it with nectar bombs in a manner similar to Basilgeuse. He can drop several of them as he takes off, punishing hunters who are attacking him on the ground. I also noticed that he's quite a heavy flyer, though he doesn't seem to stay too far out of reach for too long, and spends a lot of time flying at a height where you can hit the tail and the claws. In addition to his nectar attacks, he has many physical attacks where he swings his massive wings into hunters. He also utilizes the long, sharp beak somewhat often, stabbing at hunters repeatedly. From what I can tell, it seems like a bit of a slower paced fight, not as ridiculous and high intensity as some of what we've covered so far. And although he has a lot of detrimental effects at his disposal, they are definitely manageable, and he has far from the craziest AoE projectile spam in Frontier. An extra little fun fact is that he has a neat environmental interaction where a tribe of felines known as Uruki actually dislike Forokururu's presence.
Really? Okay, fair.
That they themselves
okay,
use.
true, actually,
I
yeah.
think that's a neat little touch that adds a
Great.
bit of extra narrative to the map. I think Forokururu is a
and that's obviously ecological info as well, which I like. That's tasty.
pretty great looking animal. He is a mammoth bird wyvern with a gorgeous teal color palette, lots of extra additional vibrant coloration, and all these different patterns added into his wings to correspond with his abilities. The long tassels of feathers coming off of his wings and near the
Also, he's a bit too colorful, which honestly, in this context, in this nuance, is really good. He's a flower field mate, and he's like a bird wyvern. A bird wyvern. Well, we discussed this already. Birds usually look or have those like crazy looking colorations, yeah?
end of his tail add this extra layer of grace and regality to him as they float behind him. So too does this crown of feathers at the back of his head. His face is maybe a little bit dorky at some angles with the huge downward pointed beak, but I think bird wyverns especially get away with looking a little dorky, and at other angles, he does actually look pretty cool. Forokururu has one major drawback, and that is how super specialized he is towards the flower fields. He kind of needs a map like that to properly function.
True,
this works for an MMO like Frontier, where there's a consistent introduction of new content, but that's a bit tougher for a regular Monster Hunter game. The best solution I can think of is to maybe have a third of a forest map, have some larger flower fields built into a couple of the different battle zones, so that he can function properly. It's not too preposterous of an idea. If you remember back to 4 Ultimate, Nursilla had a lot of regions in the Sunken Hollow and Primal Forest that were dedicated to her massive web structures. I do appreciate that this fight seems to have a more lax tone to it. I think Frontier is due for a couple of monsters that aren't unrelenting, all-consuming, uber-aggressive carnivores. I'm noticing that there's quite a few of those in here. Furokuru gets an 8 out of 10 for how much I'd like to see him in modern Monster Hunter.
He's cool. I'd say he's, again, amazing skills, very varied tool set for the monster to use. I'd give him, surprisingly, I'd give him a good 9. I'm not a big fan of bird wyverns, but 9 out of 10, bro. I'd like to see him.
Specialized.
He's cool.
Predominantly, flying fights aren't always great, but I'm very much dying for a big, powerful bird wyvern, and his gimmick looks like a good challenge to go up against. Plus, his and his map's personality feel like a nice breath of fresh air for Frontier.
As usual, amazing music, bro. Oh my god.
Diorex.
This is definitely a Tigrex relative. Or burst species of some sort. Oh my god! Holy shit, you look cool! Oh my god, you look like the embodiment of an element, that being lightning. I already love the design. Rigid, lightning looking, uses lightning, and the guy looks like lightning. He's very rigid looking, he's very, you know, like a lightning bolt. Very rigid.
Returning to the burst species, we come to the Diorex, cousin of the Tigrex. The core Diorex is actually a bit weaker
Oh,
than the
cousin,
Tigrex.
okay.
His scales are a pale gray and are softer than that of a Tigrex. He's also quite a bit slimmer. What
Really?
makes Diorex special are the thunder-producing organs in his body, the largest being near his head, limbs, and tail. In a manner similar to the Zinogre, Diorex can use this electricity to stimulate his muscles, allowing for faster and stronger attacks than his body could normally output. But Diorex's most famed use for his electricity is a more defensive purpose. Diorex can be found in areas with high density of ores, and when threatened, he will charge his electrical organs to pull copious amounts of said ores to his body, where they will form around him, lose color, be flooded with blue electrical energy, forming what is essentially battle armor out of the ground.
Oh my
and due
god!
to the aforementioned muscle simulation, the Diorex is more than capable of moving with incredible speed, even when covered in layers of minerals. That hefty armor
That's insane.
now backs his blows with an additional layer of earth-shattering force. To make matters worse, this new armor is damn difficult to penetrate, potentially turning away blades of the highest sharpness.
Holy
This
shit.
can be dealt with, however, as Diorex will need to charge the parts of his body he wishes to attack with, indicating this by forcing a body part to glow. The armor around said body part will soften up a little bit, allowing hunters to get in hits. If enough damage is dealt to a body part, the armor surrounding it can actually crack and be broken off.
Okay,
showing
fair.
the true form of the pale gray Rex beneath the ore. Given
That is
time,
horrifying looking.
Diorex can generate enough electricity to reform his lost defenses, though this too can be regulated by wounding the organ within his head, limbs, and tail. On paper, this mechanic seems to create a nice ebb and flow to the battle, requiring good positioning and effective damage output to certain areas in order to best fight them. But from what footage I've seen, it seems like the game's fairly generous with the timing on his glowing body part. I don't think I'd mind if the game was perhaps a little bit more stingy with this mechanic.
Okay,
I like
sure.
monsters that have a bit more of a puzzle to them that you have to dissect. Moveset-wise,
Alright.
Diorex has a lot of what makes a Rex a Rex. Lots of spins, charges, leaps, slams, the to-be-expected array of full-force, relentless, merciless, brutal physical attacks meant to eviscerate enemies into paste with each individual hit. What's cool about Diorex is that although a lot of his moves feel very familiar, they have different startup animations, different attack animations, timings,
Oh, that's
combos,
gas.
and will sometimes add electrical detonations at the end. And I
Damn!
think this is really cool, as it is so recognizably Tigrex, but executed in its own way throughout.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Needless to say, the Diorex also possesses the powerful, damage-inducing roar that his cousin is well known for. Additionally, Diorex has two new abilities that even further divorce it from Tigrex. On rare occasions, he can fire off electricity in a sweeping
Holy
beam
shit!
attack, but this is not commonly implemented.
Fair.
One of his most awesome
But still,
abilities,
that's
however,
fucking
is to
amazing.
infuse his magnetic properties into ores that aren't on his body, to elevate platforms of rock for him to interact with. He can create temporary hovering chunks of
Oh
rocks
my
out of the ground
God.
to leap across and create a large wall that he can jump onto and off of to lunge at opponents opponents from a different angle. I love everything about this creature. I think his armor weakness could actually do for a bit more of a difficulty tune-up. I'd love to see a bit more terrain alteration shenanigans.
8 out of 10. He
and
looks
I think
amazing.
with some texture work, you could really get him looking like his armor is made out of an assorted mash of minerals.
What I want to see as well is I want him. I want to see him in base form. Like no rocks, no armor yet, nothing. Right? And then if he gets alerted to fight, all of a sudden you see a bunch of these auras magnetize around him and form what you will see as his like armor. See that? That would be fucking cool, bro. That would be fucking cool.
And metal. Whereas at the moment, it mostly looks like a sleek blue shell. With
Yeah,
small tweaks, you could have a phenomenal monster.
Yes,
and what
I'm
exists
saying.
is really not all that far off. I love Tigrex immensely, so a form of him like this is gonna get some extra points from me. I really appreciate his varied attack animations, his awesome abilities, his colors, both armored and unarmored, the concept of his gimmick, his
I just blew my mic in my fucking mic by accident, sorry.
excellent theme, which is this crazy reinterpretation of the Tigrex battle theme. A damn solid 9 out of 10 for how much I'd like to see DRX in the main series. Inagami.
Oh my god, I've been speaking this whole time and I'm muted. Whoops. I'm sorry. Anyway, I think we're gonna leave it here at the Inagami. But I will say all of these monsters look, sound, and have amazing design. The knitting of the elements together, and not just that, when you knit elements together, obviously you create new ones. Just stuff like dark, being like, I forgot what it was. It's made of ice and whatever it was. It's made of ice and whatever it was. And then you have all these other monsters, along with the most memorable one to me was the Miru. The fact it's varied and can exchange certain aspects of itself for like speed or for power, or it can exert itself more to like enter this sort of enraged state where it's both faster, it's stronger, and the ranged attacks are more powerful. Just fucking amazing in general. Also, shoutouts to CR-Volcanic script writing for all this type of stuff. It's just plain Jane fucking insane, amazing work, bro. Shout out to the guy. But we will end it here for now. Thank you guys for watching. As always, please take care of yourselves. Credits to CR-Volcanic for this amazing video. We will pick up where we are leaving this off, probably this coming week. But for now, please take care of yourselves. This has been Ephemeros, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.